What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be going over and ranking our best linebackers in college football 25 Ultimate Team on a tier list. Now, we did include basically all of the 86 overalls and then some of the 85 overall middle linebackers. If you have any card below this, some important attributes to look at. Obviously, speed is going to be the most important attribute I always talk about. So that's like my number one priority. Any linebacker with good speed can obviously play for you guys. Some other guys, do you play pass coverage? Do you like a guy to get after the quarterback? Some of both obviously is super important, but especially on the exterior, of your line. Like if you do run the mid-blitz scheme or something like that, maybe like 3-3-5 penny, you want a guy like Colin Oliver maybe to get after the quarterback. So it all just depends what you're looking for at that linebacker position. And we're going to talk about each and every one of these guys. Let's start it with Barham up first. And again, I'll go through, talk about each and every one of these guys because I think it is important to do it. With Barham, 84 speed. Now, is that bad? I don't want to sit here in front of you guys and say that's bad. But when you're comparing him to some of the other linebackers we have, especially at 88 overall, it's not great. 86 acceleration. Not great change of direction, not great awareness. Tackling's okay, pursuit's really good, coverage-wise is okay. I don't see how he's an 88 overall, though. I mean, if you look at those stats, you tell me. To me, C tier at the middle linebacker position, I think is right. Then you look at Bosworth, who I think is night and day better than Barham, and I don't even think it is remotely close. Bosworth has 86 speed, 85 acceleration, way better tackling, way better in coverage. You tell me how those two things add up. Tell me how Barham's an 88 and how Bosworth is an 88. Bosworth is so much better to me. One of your best middle linebackers in the game. He might go into S tier. I don't necessarily I'm going to throw him in S tier. I mean, at the middle linebacker position, you tell me who's going to be better than Brian Bosworth. Oh, wait. 86 overall Bosworth is still extremely good. And I think that's where people get kind of confused. I still think 86 Bosworth is better than this Barham card. I mean, I genuinely do. And maybe Barham needs to go down more. I don't necessarily know. But trust me, I'm taking Bosworth over Barham every day of the week at those specific overalls. Even the 86 Bosworth, again, I think is better than the 88 Barham. So that's where I'm at with those guys. I'll put the 85 Bosworth at C tier. I still think he's a really good middle linebacker with some really good stats, really good attributes. And that just goes to show, like, if you even have, like, the cheapest Bosworth, he can absolutely still play. Then we see Bowen up next. And here's another guy I do want to showcase exactly what this card does for your specific squad. 81 speed. Yikes. Not great tackling. Yikes. Can't really, do anything on the field. This card is just overall a yikes. I'm throwing him at D tier. I don't know how much worse you can get than this card right here. And I'm not hating on Bowen, but he might end up in F tier. If you're running this card, all I can say is yikes. A lot of these college kickoff cards are not great. Then we see Jack Campbell, outside linebacker here, our first outside linebacker. I actually ran Jack Campbell for a little bit. First thing I want you guys to realize is Jack Campbell is 6'5". He's got really good height on the exterior. 86 finesse move, good tackler, good hit power, decent pursuit, decent speed, decent in coverage, not great. The thing for Jack Campbell is I just wish he was a little better in coverage because, again, he does get after the quarterback decently well. He is pretty tall. I just, again, wish his pass coverage was just that little bit better. I do think C tier is right, though, for Jack Campbell. Abdul Carter up next. Carter and Campbell, I think, is closer than a lot of people realize and a lot of people want to give credit to. Thing for Carter is power move, finesse move, both are good. Block shed is fantastic. One thing about Abdul Carter, he is not good in coverage. So you're going to want to make sure if you're running Abdul Carter that he is on a blitz 9 times out of 10 or, trying to get after the quarterback. Because, again, if you are one where you're putting him in coverage, he is not going to have a lot of success. I do think he's B tier, but, again, do not drop him into coverage. If you do, he is probably going to get eaten alive. Bradley Chubb up next. I think, is C tier the right tier for Bradley Chubb? I think it is. I don't mind Bradley Chubb whatsoever, though, and I actually think for his overall, he is a really good card. 85 speed, 85 acceleration, decent tackler, good hit power, decent zone coverage. Block shed's obviously not ideal, but I don't mind him whatsoever. I do think C tier probably is the right tier. Kind of want to put him in B tier, though. I don't know. I'm going to move him at C. I'm putting him at C tier for now, but just know I do like Bradley Chubb quite a bit. Wesolak up next. I like DJ Wesolak as well. The problem is he is super expensive right now, 295,000 coins. Is he worth that? Probably not, but he does come with 86 speed, 85 acceleration, 89 finesse move, great tackler, similar to Abdul Carter. You do not want him playing coverage. I do think he's side by side better than Abdul Carter, but again, you do not want this card dropping in its coverage. I am going to put him at A tier just because I do think getting after the quarterback, he's one of the best cards we have. Do think he's slightly better than Abdul Carter, but again, if he's not getting after the quarterback or, again, stopping the run, if he's in coverage, he is going to struggle quite a bit. Tyler Grubbs up next. Another card that I think deserves some respect in this game. I think 86 speed, 86 acceleration, decent power move, good tackler. Little better in coverage than the other guys I just talked about. Do I think he's quite as good as Wesolak? Probably not. I think he's more a B tier type of card. But Tyler Grubbs is pretty solid in this game. Definitely improvement over a guy like Bradley Chubb in this game. A card I do not mind whatsoever. Perkins Jr. He is such a weird player. And it just makes it so tough for me. The one thing I can't stand about Perkins Jr. is his block shed. His block shed's horrible, guys, and it really hurts the card. His block shed's bad. He's not good in coverage. He's okay at, I guess, getting after the quarterback. I just don't know. His speed is fantastic. I just wish his block shed was better. Against the pass, he's one of the best pass rushers we have in the game, but he's not going to get off blocks. It's tough for me to put him any higher. I'm going to put him at C tier, though, just because of that speed, but trust me, that block shed leaves a lot to be desired. Dorian Hopkins up next, another card that I'll show you exactly what this card gets into, what he looks like. 85 speed, 83 acceleration, decent in coverage, decent tackler. I don't know. I mean, C tier probably. Another card I just maybe wish was a little bit faster. And I know speed's not everything, but speed and acceleration probably are your two most important things. Kendricks had his time in this game. The problem is that time is no longer a thing. 83 speed, 81 acceleration, decent tackler, decent in coverage. He's not totally worthless, but I am throwing him a D tier at this stage of the game. We just have better linebackers in the game. And we kind of knew it. When Ray Lewis came out, we kind of knew that the time came and went for Kendricks. Because Ray Lewis, I do think, is C tier. And a lot of people might disagree with me, think I'm too high on Ray Lewis. But he's got 84 speed, 82 acceleration, really good tackler, not great in coverage. He's not the same tier as Bradley Chubb, though. He's just not. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move Kendricks and Bowen down just because I think I have to. Now, what I am going to do is also move some of these other guys down. I'm going to move Hopkins down. And do I want to move Barham down? That's the question of the day. I just don't see it with this card. I do think he's probably better than Ray Lewis, but I guess that's probably right. He's probably is C tier, but I just do not love the card. Do think he's way overvalued. Chandler Martin for a free card is really good. I mean, genuinely, for a free card for grinding XP this season, you get a really good Chandler Martin. Do wish he was faster for sure. 84 speed's not great, but good acceleration, good tackler. Again, not going to be good in coverage whatsoever. But if you are looking for a guy to get after the quarterback, he is really, really, really solid. Do think B tier might be a little high for him, but I can't put him over Jack Campbell. I'm going to put him at C tier. I think that's where he belongs. But he is really solid, especially for a free card. Jaylen McLoud, going to be a card I have to look up here because, again, a card that did just get released that I probably think is going to be way overpriced. 180,000 coins really isn't too bad. 84 speed, 85 acceleration, good finesse move. Block shed's okay. Decent in zone coverage. Again, I play more zone coverage than I do man coverage, so McLeod's not bad there either. This card's okay. I'm not going to sit here and say he's great, but he definitely is okay in this game. Do wish he was a little bit faster. Do I want to put him at B tier? I think I want to go C tier still. I still want to go C tier. I don't love him that much. Card that is underrated at this stage of the game is Micah Parsons. You are not going to get too many better guys that are going to rush a quarterback better than Micah Parsons. And trust me, I've used about every one of them. 86 speed, great power move, good acceleration, good block shed. If you do not play coverage with this card, and he can play okay coverage, but if you don't play coverage with this card, he's an absolute beast. And I will hype up Micah Parsons until I can't no longer because he's got 86 speed. He's got great power move, decent finesse move. Micah Parsons is a beast. I'm going B tier. Maybe I'm wrong about the card, but I don't care. I'll be wrong about him. Colin Oliver, an absolute stud. There's going to be certain cards I'll always be a fan of. Colin Oliver is one of them. 86 speed, 85 acceleration, good in coverage, good at getting after the quarterback. Talk about a do-it-all card. It's Colin Oliver. S tier. From block sheds to getting after the quarterback to playing coverage, he can do no wrong. in college football ultimate team. S tier for Colin Oliver. Peyton Wilson, I'm going to go B tier. One of your better middle linebackers in the entire game. I feel like when the card first came out, I probably should have just bought him. At this stage, a lot of people are getting B&D versions though, so I mean his price is getting cheaper and cheaper. Great speed, great acceleration. Going to be one of your better users in the entire game. Do maybe wish his zone coverage was slightly better. But again, Peyton Wilson, one of your best middle linebackers that we do have in the entire game. Not as good as Bosworth though. Do want to make that clear. Roquan Smith, also going to put him at B tier. I just don't see how these cards are that much better than Bosworth's. Even if you're looking at Bosworth's 86 overall, I think they're relatively similar. Let's look at Roquan Smith for a second. Does have 85 speed, decent acceleration, good tackler. Again, zone coverage, not necessarily the best. Do think B tier is the right spot for both Roquan Smith and Peyton Wilson. Kyle Thornton, now we get an interesting card in Kyle Thornton. We've seen a lot of outside linebackers that are going to get after the quarterback. A ton of them. Kyle Thornton's an interesting one because his block shed's bad. Getting after the quarterback's not great. But in coverage, he's a beast. So it's one of those things. Do you want to use him as a user? Maybe on that, on the defense. I don't think he's A tier. I don't even know if he's B tier though. Like the more I'm looking at Kyle Thornton, the more I'm like, I think B tier is the right spot. But I think Jack Campbell is just as good as him, and same thing with Jaylen McLoud. I'm going to throw him at C tier. Because Kyle Thornton, when I initially came up with this list, I thought would be a little bit better. But he's only got 85 speed too. He's not one of my favorite cards in the game. Urlacher at this stage, I'll go D tier. He had his time. He's still okay. Just not great. TJ Watt, another type of pass coverage outside linebacker, which is kind of weird for TJ Watt, but only has 84 speed. This card's not very good. TJ Watt, I'm throwing it F tier. I don't see it with the card. Michael Williams, I've used this card quite often, and honestly, stat-wise, he is A tier. I just feel like there's something kind of missing with this card, and I don't know what it is. Is it the 84 speed? I don't know, because his power move's good. His finesse move is fine. His block shed is great. He's just horrible in coverage. So as long as you don't play coverage with this card, I'm going to put him in A tier. But in coverage, he is horrible. York, he's not good. F tier, I do think is the right spot for York. When you're looking at this card's stats, he's got 81 speed. He might be the worst card on this list. He made the list because he's an 85 overall. Might be the worst card on the list. Zaven Collins last. C tier maybe. Again, a lot of these cards, it's just like, I don't know where they're supposed to go. 84 speed, decent in coverage, but he's not great. Zaven Collins is not great. Honestly, at this point, he might even be down in D tier. I'll keep him in C tier. I am going to move Jack Campbell up, though. After going through and looking at some of these guys, I do think Jack Campbell is better than a lot of these guys that I have talked about. I'm going to move him at B tier. Honestly, I'm going to move Jaylen McLoud up as well. I like this quite a bit more just for I want to move Martin up then too. I'm going to move Chandler Martin up as well. Just for the sole fact of, I think if you're going to be at C tier, I'm just not super high on you, and there needs to be some definitive tiers in this. And I do like Campbell, Martin, and McLeod enough to put them at B tier. That's going to wrap it up for my tier list today. I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot of opinions on this, but again, I think it's pretty set in stone. Any guy B tier or higher is great to add to your squad, like Micah Parsons, Jack Campbell. Probably shouldn't be super expensive in our cards that can probably help you guys out that little bit. But again, I wouldn't overpay for any of these cards. You could probably find some of these cards again for relatively cheap, or just use Chandler Martin, who is absolutely free. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.